Hello everyone, my name is Irfan Shahzad. I welcome you to another session on IBM Data Power training. In the last session, we installed some of the prerequisites, the softwares which are needed for this training. Today we are going to do the installation of the IBM Data Power itself. Uh, so I've updated the document which I shared with you earlier. So I've added another section where I have provided detailed steps on how to do the installation of IBM Data Power. So let's get started. So first thing what we need to do is we need to obtain the image from IBM Data Power image from IBM Container Registry. So the link is provided in the document as the first step. So we need to pull an image from the container registry. So this is going to download the image. So in order to speed up the process, so I've already downloaded this image. So this is the reason why it's telling me that the image already exists in my system. So in your case, it will do the download. It's around um, I think 1.5 gigabytes. Yeah, 1.6 gigabytes in size. So uh, so that's the first thing. Next, we need to create a volume which we are going to attach to the IBM Data Power container, so that the configurations or the development which we are going to do will be persisted onto the file system. So for that, we are going to create a volume create. Let's call it IBM Data Power. Okay, so it doesn't matter what name you give. So that's another thing. Uh, so what we can do is we can use this fully qualified name, but as a general practice, what I do is I usually tag it to a more simplified name. Um so this is what we are going to do, so that our command gets simplified while creating the container. So this is going to just tag the same image as a different name. So you can see that both of these images, the ID of both of these images is same, right? The same I did for IBM MQ. So next thing is we need to run the container. So there is a long command which we need to execute. So I'll explain what each of this means. So here we are telling Podman to create a data power image with the name IBM Data Power and use the simplified name which I've given. So either you can use this name or you can provide a fully qualified name which we used in order to pull the image from IBM Container Registry. So we are also running it in an interactive mode because by default all the interfaces in the IBM Data Power are disabled. So we need to enable it by connecting it to the admin console through certain commands. So those steps have also are also provided in the document. So these are the few uh, directory structures where which is needed by the data power in order to store the configurations, certain certificates which it generates, and some of the local files. So we are going to we will be using that. So we are exposing some ports which we will be needing. So the first one is 9090 port is used is the default port which is used for web console, which we'll use for the development purposes. I've also added this 5554, which is again a default port for REST API. Besides that, I've also added a range of port around 100 ports, so that we will be since we will be developing different services, so we'll be needing these ports, right? So let's create that container. So you can see that it has now we are in a login page. So by default, it creates a user with the username admin, and password is also admin. So now you are able to log in into the IBM Data Power command console. So this is mainly for the administrative purposes, administration. So we will not be. So this is the only place where we are interacting with this interface. Um, so first thing we need to do is configure terminal, okay, and then web mgmt, and enable, I think, so admin state enabled. Okay. Uh, so once we exit that, it's going to create certain artifacts at the backend in order to enable the web management console for us. So you can see that the operational state is up. So we should be able to access the Data Power web console now. So let's quickly jump to a web browser. So the port is 9090. So you can see that it's opened. Uh, so since IBM Data Power generates a self-signed certificate, so this is the reason why you are getting this warning. In production, you might want to create a certificate and have them signed with the signing authority, in case you want to you don't want to see these errors. So we are using that same username and password in order to log in into the IBM Data Power web console. So in the meantime, it's loading. So let's see if there is anything else we need to do. Um, So these are just the references I have also provided in case you want to go through it. So that's I think we are done with this. Uh, so now we have our Data Power up and running. So we can see web management service, which should be running on port 9090. This is the reason why we are able to access this. So one thing I think we should do is, since there are certain configuration changes, so we should save them. So this is important because otherwise those changes, in case uh, you stop your container, and those changes might not get reflected. So this is, make sure that if there are any pending changes, you save them after review. Another thing is, so in case we want to enable a REST management interface, so we can do that. So just simply enable this thing. Let's see if we are able to access. So the same warning we are getting. So you can see that our web interface is also enabled, right? So this is pretty much it for today's session. In the next session, we are going to start our development for the Data Power, where we will be implementing a multi-protocol gateway, a very basic service in order to get ourselves familiarized uh, uh, with the artifacts that are needed in order to expose a service. So I hope you find this video helpful. Do let me know in case you have any questions. So have a nice day.